Okay, so here's a few composite functions. So we said when we've got a composite function, this little dot in the middle, we call that after. So the first one basically wants me to apply the function f after I apply some function g. Okay, so my input for f is going to be the output for g of x. Okay, so what that means is whatever I get from g of x is going to be the input that I have, that I use that value as the input for f. Okay, now here they didn't give me the actual x value, so I just have to input the g of x function here, and that's what my new input for the f function is going to be. So this one is going to be f of, and I'm going to replace g of x with what it's equal to, so it's x squared. Okay, so what I am doing now is I am going to apply my function f on the input x squared. Okay, so just like I had up here, okay, when I had x as an input, I had x here. If I had 6 there instead of x, then I would replace the x with 6. Now the x is replaced with x squared, so my function is going to have the x replaced with x squared. Okay, and then it's still minus 2. So this x here has been replaced with x squared. Okay, both here when it's f of x squared versus f of x, and here when I've said x squared instead of x minus 2. Okay, so that is that one. So maybe pause it now and have a look at this one. So the function g after f of x. So that means that I am applying the function g on whatever the output from f of x is. Okay, so whatever I get from f of x. Okay, now I can see straight away here f of x from up here is equal to x minus 2. So that is what I'm going to be inputting now. It is now my input into the function g of x. Okay, so where x was is now x minus 2. So I had x squared. So now I am going to have something squared. Okay, so I have to fill in whatever x is, and that's to be squared. Okay, so x here is going to be replaced with x minus 2. And then we know how to square functions. Okay, so it's just the first squared, the first times the second and double it, and then square the last. Okay, so either way of writing it, either like this or like this here, is perfect. Okay, next one, g after h of x. Okay, so maybe pause now and try this one yourself. Okay, again, it is the function g, okay, and as an input, your input is going to be whatever the output from h of x is. Okay, so that is what h of x is equal to here, so x plus 1. Okay, so again, the function g means that whatever the input is squared. Okay, so my input now is x plus 1. Okay, so again, you can write it like that, or if you want, as x squared plus 2x plus 1. Okay, so either way of writing it here is fine. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. So now it is 3 functions. Okay, so basically the function h is applied after the function g after function f on x. Okay, so whatever my answer for f of x is, g has to be applied to that, and then h applied to whatever that was. Okay, so think about this as like brackets, like, okay, do like inside the brackets, like if we've got a few brackets, do the closest inside brackets that you can do first. Okay, so I'm saying, so we always kind of read right to left here. So f of x is what we have to do first. Okay, so remember to read that circle as after, so that you remember that h is what we're going to end up doing last. Okay, so we are going to have the function h applied on whatever the output of the function g applied on whatever the output of function f is. Okay, so I'm not even going to worry about the h part yet. Okay, I'm just going to be working on whatever I can do inside brackets firstly. Okay, so I am going to start off by replacing that very inside bracket as much as possible. So the f of x part. Okay, and I can replace that with x minus 2. Okay, and then I say, okay, now I want to try and get rid of this inside part. I want to do something with this. Okay, so I'm going to apply the function g on x minus 2. So the function g said that I had to square the input. Okay, so again, I'm not doing anything with h yet. I'm just going to copy it down. Okay, and now I am going to apply g. So that means that I'm going to have some input being squared, and my input, it was x, so it was x squared. Now it's x minus 2. Okay, so x minus 2 squared. Okay, now again, we can write it this way, okay, or we can multiply it out. Now, this is something that we talked about already in class, but if you're going through the videos now fresh, like you might not have looked at it yet, and it's that complete square form. So really, it's actually quite nice. I can see my next step is going to be whatever this is, I'm going to have to add 1 onto. And it's actually quite nice to just leave it as x minus 2 squared plus 1. That would be leaving it in completed square form. So it actually can just be left like this here. Okay, and you can, instead of multiplying it out, you can say, okay, so that is my new input for h. Okay, I'm just going to write it all in black so that we get less confused. So it's x minus 2 to be squared. Okay, and the function h adds 1 to whatever the input is. So that would mean that it would be my input plus 1. So it's x minus 2 squared plus 1. Okay, so usually we wouldn't really write an answer like this, but it actually is really nice here because of the idea of writing things in completed square form.